Welcome back to our herbicide systems concept demonstration near Greenville, Mississippi. Last week we discussed the absolute necessity of utilizing a pre-emergence residual herbicide in your soybean weed control systems, regardless of the technology platform that you select for your farm. We are now 23 days after planting at this location, and the benefit of the pre-emergence herbicide application at planting is still very evident as you look down the field. The 4 rows to the right received 8 ounces of Trivents at planting, and the 4 rows on the left received no pre-emergence herbicide application. This week we're going to focus on making timely post-emergence application in your soybean weed control systems. We need to begin by taking a look back at the level of weed pressure we had last week, 16 days after planting, when these post-emergence applications were made. You're seeing the results of a foliar application made approximately 7 days ago in a Roundup Ready to Extend weed control system. Let's begin by taking a look at a Roundup Ready to Extend weed control system that received no at planting pre-emergence herbicide application. Remember that at 16 days after planting, when this post-emergence application was made, pigweeds were already 6, 8, sometimes 10 and 12 inches tall. So essentially we had created a salvage application where we did not use a pre-emergence residual herbicide. We are now 7 days after that post-emergence application, and you can see that this treatment has done quite a good job compared to the untreated checks in the background. Weeds are laying down and curled up and are still being acted upon by the herbicide. It is not clear the final level of weed control that we will achieve in this plot, but suffice it to say that weed control is good, especially taking into consideration the amount of vegetation that we were dealing with. To have been truly timely in your post-emergence application where no pre-emergence residual herbicide application was made, this post-emergence application should have been made about 10 days after planting, not 16. Now let's take a look at the Roundup Ready to Extend weed control system where 8 ounces of Trivents herbicide was applied pre-emergence, and the post-emergence application of Fexapan and Glyphosate was made 16 days after planting. This plot is essentially 100% clean with the exception of some escaped nutsedge plants in the middle of the plot. The level of nutsedge control in this Roundup Ready to Extend weed control system could be greatly improved with the addition of classic herbicide as part of your post-emergence application. Before we move on to our Glyphosate Tolerant weed control system, I want you to take note of the size of the soybean canopy in this plot. Now let's take a look at the level of weed control achieved in a glyphosate tolerant weed control system where glyphosate was mixed with a PPO inhibiting herbicide for your post-emergence herbicide application. At first glance, the level of weed control looks pretty darn good in this plot. Upon closer inspection, you can see that many of the pigweed plants were burned off at the top and are beginning to regrow from the bottom of the plants. You can also see that many of the smaller pigweeds that were trapped under the dense canopy and did not receive adequate coverage were not controlled at all. So in about 1 week, we'll show you a follow-up of this plot, and I expect that many of those pigweed plants will have outgrown this application, and even though we've achieved nearly a complete weed control in this glyphosate tolerant weed control system, we have greatly reduced the size of our canopy with our injurious post-emergence herbicides, making the time to canopy closure longer than in systems like the Roundup Ready to Extend weed control system. Here we have the Enlist E3 weed control system in soybean, where a post-emergence application was made 16 days after planting using Enlist Duo herbicide, and no pre-emergence herbicide application was used at planting. So essentially you had a salvage weed control situation, and the Enlist system has provided an exceptional level of weed control. The Enlist E3 weed control system in soybeans, like all other technology platform, really needs that pre-emergence herbicide to make maximum use of the technology. In this plot, your pre-emergence 8-ounce application of Trivents was used, followed by a post-emergence application of Enlist Duo herbicide 16 days after planting. Thank you for joining me for this Pioneer Growing Point Agronomy moment. We'll provide you another update next week. If you take a look in the background, you can see that more of our plots in our timing study were sprayed this week. We'll show you what those applications look like next week. Thanks again for joining us.
That concludes this Pioneer Growing Point Agronomy video podcast. Visit our page on pioneer.com and follow us on Twitter and Facebook for more agronomy insights.